Rebellion. Surprisingly a good show. Now, I'm not going to say it's perfect because it was not. But if you're going to talk about the fundamentals of what makes a good pay-per-view, a good pay-per-view, you generally got to hear. Generally got a lot of action, some suspense. You got some emotion, heartfelt emotion. You got some silliness, and we got more than a little bit of it. And the end, you did get some botchiness. Yes, we did. But in general, this was a good pay-per-view that got me surprised. And I liked it. Now, I'm sure you're going to say, well, of course you liked it because you care more about TNA than you care about AEW, WWE. That's not true. That is not true. Just in case, if you're new here, hiya. I am someone that's not going to make jokes or just chew people out like crazy like most of the other wrestling reviewers. I'm not doing that. I'm giving you a fair assessment of what we got. I'm not Alex. Now, I respect Alex. I respect JD. I respect Solomon. So I respect Jesse, who works with JD. I respect them. They all have great points of view. Sometimes they go a little too far with it. Sometimes they don't go far enough. Sometimes they're right on the money. Just no better than me. I'm no better than them. But I'm not someone that's going to be really joking around or... Well, let's make it clear. JD jokes around. He's in New York. He's just like me. He jokes around, but I'm not that flamboyant. I have my moments. And I'm not Alex, who has given way too much shadow of the doubt to WWE. He wants it to be so successful. So did JD. But for 2 years, guys, if you're new here, I spoke for 2 years. Look at my channel. I didn't put a playlist of all the videos I made. But look at it. The last video I made, the state of WWE, I believe the state of AEW, I made those videos. And I said what was going on with them. AEW right now looks better, but it's got a long way to go still. Its numbers have gone up. Its structure of its wrestling has been a bit better. And Jay didn't like it, but at least you got to start somewhere where you got to focus on trying to at least tell stories, even if many of them are boring, instead of being chaotic storytelling. And WWE, when you look at it, and I know I'm taking long with this, but I have to explain. When you look at WWE, when you look at what's going on with not TKO Group Holdings, not Endeavor, Silver Lake, WWE. You can check it for yourself. Google it yourself. Find out who owns TKO Group Holdings. Find out who owns it. Find out that Ari Emanuel is not the owner of TKO anymore. He is the CEO. He had sold the company to Silver Lake Global. Everyone keeps making the same mistake. Unless they giving it back to Ari Emanuel, Silver Lake owns it. Silver Lake Global owns WWE, and Ari is running the place on their behalf. And that's what this is all about. WWE doesn't exist anymore. It is not its own entity anymore, no matter what anybody says. It is a satellite company of a larger conglomeration, Silver Lake. And if Ari, on behalf of the shareholders of Silver Lake, say, well, we want Pat McAfee. In his case, he says he wants Pat McAfee. Or the shareholders say it. Doesn't matter. They're going to interfere with creative, as I said 2 years ago. You have no idea who's going to be put in that position. Ari could do it. That's what I said at first before I found out about the Ari selling the company. Now, he just did exactly what I said. And people are angry about it. And now they got to try and clean it up by using the angle of corporate versus the really small guy. Other words, Vince McMahon versus a little bit of Stone Cold back in the 90s and early 2000s. You guys could check it for yourself if you remember those old storylines. But the reason I brought this up is that from AEW, which was very chaotic and only just now they begun to focus better on their storytelling and promo segments and giving the people time, hopefully. And WWE, who has not been really doing anything, they've been sitting in their laurels. You look at TNA, who has been working with WWE, and I can tell you, it had his moments, generally speaking, that you wonder if TNA will be nothing but just being used by WWE. Can they have a proper identity without WWE? Can they do good television? Can they do good promos? Can they do definitely good, big question, pay-per-views? This one is a good one. Now, let's go through the show. I did see the kickoff, and I'm only going to talk about this briefly because there's only one reason why this happened with Ryan Nemeth and BDE. Experience. BDE is still very young in the company, very young in the business. He needs more exposure and he needs more time to work. The only reason he had the match. It's not about him telling an incredible story. It's just about getting experience. That's what was at the kickoff show. That's why he had it. And he got his butt cleaned. He was meant to lose. He was never meant to win. He was just meant to get experience with another wrestler, Ryan, who has been working for many years in the business. That is the reason why. Of course, Ryan cheated. And you could see BTE was sloppy in several cases. Where at one point, when he did his trying to springboard back, not the first cutter, it was another move, trying to nail Ryan, he nailed him a little bit in the face with either his leg or his elbow a little bit. Not that it stopped him, he was fine, but you get my point. Now, first match. Leon Slater versus Cedric Alexander. A match that we were waiting for quite a while, but due to the fact of the visa problem, we couldn't have the match. But now we get it here. The thing I liked about this match, and I did like the match, it wasn't about the high-flying nature of Leon or Cedric. It was that Cedric, who had worked in WWE for many years, did learn psychology. Unlike when he first came in during the Cruiserweight Classic and then went to 205 Live. When you look at Cedric now, he understands that you cannot just jump all over the place and do spots all the time. You got to slow it down and tell a story that invests the fans. And when you watch the match, parts of the match, he forced Leon to slow down, and he was forced to have to take each move one bit at a time instead of going from one move to one, and then another move to another, and another move to another. He had to force him to take his beatings. Then he couldn't do his move. Take the beatings again. Try to get the fans invested, and then slowly started going from one move. Then wait a little bit. Then another move. Then wait a bit, and then from another move to another to another. That is how you can make psychology work for high-flying wrestlers. You don't always go straight to every move quickly. It doesn't always work. And yes, in the beginning, they were moving fast-paced, but once you see Cedric slow his ass down, the match looked better. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. In the end, you know who won. Our boy, Leon Slater, won. Now the question is, who is next? This is going to be the big question. Who is going to be next for Leon Slater? Is it going to be someone from NXT, or is it going to be someone from outside of TNA? That's not from NXT or WWE. It's going to be a big question. Next match. I really didn't care about this match. I won't lie about it. I felt like it could have been on Impact. And this is Elijah versus the king of TNA, a little bit of Kaz. I'm not going to tell you that I was fond of seeing this match here on the card. I understand why they did it. They want to keep pushing Elijah. And I want to make this clear. Seeing that they're trying to push Elijah as somewhat of an Undertaker-style person, as the grifter. Because there used to be people who used to drift from one town to another, just like you see the Undertakers of old who used to take care of the people after the shootout. You also have people who were drifting from one town to another. And that's where they're kind of combining a little bit of his persona he came up in NXT with this. I'm not going to tell you that he's a great wrestler. He's not. But he does have, at certain points, a decent character that people do like. And seeing that this wasn't too bad, and then seeing that the guitar was used in this situation, well, technically, the ref really let a lot of leeway go, and you see Kaz pretty much whipping him with the strap for his guitar that went back and forth, which should have disqualified it, but they really kept it going. And I think this would have been better on Impact. I really do believe that this would have been better on Impact than it would be in Rebellion. I truly believe it would have been better for it. But in the end, because of a low blow, and I don't know if I got that shot, it's in my face, Kaz won. But I still believe this should have been on Impact. It was not a bad match. I want to make this clear. It wasn't bad. But I truly believe it would have been better on Impact than here at Rebellion. Next match. A match I was curious about. Agent Zero versus Moose with Alicia Edwards by Moose's side. Let me give it to you like this. The story between Moose and Agent Zero is not a very strong one. It's not. But seeing how dominant Agent Zero is and seeing how dominant Moose is, I was curious to see, could they make a series out of this? Could they make a series of matches where these guys are going at each other because they want to be the dominant monsters of their own worlds, of the system in order for it? It was a very good match. I did enjoy it. At one point, very opening, you see Agent Zero does a suicide dive outside the ring and Moose shoves Alicia away. Later in the match, Alicia gets hurt because of the... is Skylar dangerous? No, he's a goof. But he did mess with Alicia. She smacked the taste out of his mouth, but she landed off of the apron, and she already hurt her ankle. Now she re-hurt it even more, and Moose decided, I gotta take care of Alicia. I'm gonna carry her to the back, but Agent Zero whooped his ass because he was distracted with Alicia, and he lost that match. Now, the original agreement, because of Agent Zero being like that, was when the main event happened, if Agent Zero wins, because he did win, would Eddie give a shot to Ali, which we will find out later tonight. You will know. I mean, I'll talk about it in a minute, but you get my point. Next match. Hardcore country match. And I know you're going to say, oh, that's the type of thing you're going to get. I don't want to see this. Guys, let's put our cards on the table. No promotion can just be 100% serious. They have to have comedy in it. My nose is itchy. Sorry, my allergies. No promotion, no wrestling promotion, even though TNA is owned by a corporation just like WWE, and it's not really TNA anymore either, but it stays more of a pro wrestling promotion than WWE is doing. Let me tell you this. They need comedy. You need comedy. You cannot have a show without it. It will be boring. Even ROH had comedy in it. No matter what anybody says, ROH didn't need comedy. It had it. I didn't even need to watch it. ECW had comedy. WCW had comedy. NWA had comedy. WWE had comedy. TNA, for more than a few years, had comedy. Look at what happened with Eric Young was doing. Please. They need comedy. So this hardcore country match was mainly comedy. You can't tell me that Pickle Dick wasn't funny. You can't tell me that they grabbed, well, I don't know if I got the shot of Mr. Elegant putting his face into that cooler where ODB had already opened up a jar of pickles and then spilled it. If I have the shot, it's in my face. But They dunked his face in it after they whacked him in the nuts. And then, going back to ODB, she had some tongs, grabbed that boy's... Let me give it to you like this. It's in my face. Seeing tongs used in that way doesn't make me feel good. It makes me wonder how my plums would feel getting yanked like that. But you get my point. In the end, what did we get? The Elegance brand winning. And Terrence Terrell, was it Terrence Terrell that had to eat it? I can't remember who was the one who had to eat that match. I don't remember. I think it was either ODB or Terrence Terrell. I can't remember which one. But when it was over, you see Tommy Dreamer come out. You see him with Silver. You got them coming in. I'm going like, what the hell are they going out here now? And you see Tommy saying, hey, clean up the ring. While we're talking, clean up the ring. And there were lollipops in the ring. I didn't say it earlier, but there were lollipops. And that had to hurt a little bit. I don't care what you say. You say, oh, lollipops won't hurt. What happened if the stick sticks up and it gets you in your back? It's going to hurt. Those paper sticks, they hurt. But Tommy, he says, everyone, and calls her over DB. He says, I've known you from day one. And girl, you need to, we're glad you wrestle, but you need to change your style. And ODB is just grabbing the titties and stuff like that as she normally does with her drink in her hand. But then he says, you need to change your style because at Bound for Glory, you're going into the Hall of Fame. She's in my face right now. I believe I got a shot of her. She was so emotional. She didn't expect it. I think her man, Big Al, her man, Big Al, got into the ring. So happy for her. I'm going to tell you this. Is ODB a legend? Hell yes, she is. Was she beloved? Yes, she was. Does she have big fake tits? Because we know that she popped one of her tits when she was in the ring one day. Yes, she did. Do I care? No, I don't. There's still a nice pair of tits. I'd be happy to squeeze them. And I'm actually happy for ODB going into the Hall of Fame. Look, there's not that many women that went through WWE or TNA for that matter who deserve a Hall of Fame. They don't. Not all of them do. Now, mind you, the women that are in TNA, they're a smaller group. But that small group had made their mark in TNA and moved over to WWE. They've earned a lot of what they gained. Mickie James done it. I can see Terrence Terrell, the way she worked, along with Gail Kim, the way she worked. Well, Gail Kim's already a Hall of Famer along with Mickie James. So when it comes to Terrence Terrell, I think they may bring her in. Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, they were just... And they could wrestle pretty well. But when you look at ODB, she was not like them. She didn't have the same attitude as them. She didn't have the same style of wrestling. She used her sexuality in ways you didn't expect, particularly bam in your face. But you can say that she deserves it, and I'm glad she got it. Next. What's next here? Nick Nimitz and AJ Francis with Conan Starr. When is it? I can't remember his name. Look, I was never a Cleveland Brown fan. I'm sorry. I didn't like the Browns. I did. You know what I mean. I didn't like the Cleveland. I'm trying not to be. Let me give it to you like this. I love the Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys were my team. Every other team, I didn't give two damn flips about. Except for maybe when the Buccaneers were around. I didn't care about the Steelers. I didn't care about anything else. But those two, I kind of care because I would love to see them butting heads against each other when I did care about football. The Cleveland Browns, I didn't care. But knowing that Constar, he was their best and legendary quarterback, makes me think, one, well, That's good to know. They did have a legendary quarterback, and then they don't got anyone other than him now. They're all really bad. That's not good. But he was at ringside with Nick because he always loved him because of his dad and him always going to a football game, and he was playing it. So what did we really get here? Because this is where it gets a little bit murky. At first, I'm really not very interested in this feud. I'm just not. But I'm thinking, halfway through it, wouldn't it be good to see KC show up and just try to whack AJ Francis in the head? What did I actually see? It's in my face. We got KC Navarro coming back, interfering in the match, and now the feud between KC and AJ Francis can now move forward. Finally, KC's, I believe it was ACL, finally healed enough. He's back, and now it's actually good to see him back. And now he's also going to be having a feud with AJ Francis, who, I got to say this, and I'm going to keep saying this. No matter if you like AJ, I'm not actually against the moniker of one of the best big men in the business. I'm not. You already got over in NXT where you got Jasper Troy, Kiana Carver, and Josh Briggs saying that one of them is the biggest and most best big man. But when it comes to TNA, they don't really have that many. They got the Abyss, yeah. AJ Francis, yeah. You can easily say Kevin Nash at one point. But there's not that many. There isn't. But it's good to see that there is one in TNA, not just in NXT. It's good to see one there. And AJ, he's not one of the best workers, but he's consistent in his work. I still kind of wish that Tennessee Whiskey had been retired for just 1 year. Just a year. So he can show all the other stuff he can do. Because I truly believed, and this is me, that when it came to AJ Francis, they really gave him a bad rap back in WWE when he could not do the Tennessee Whiskey the way he wanted in the ring. They really fucked with him. And I know that he does talk shit online. I know. And JD has called him out on him multiple times. But I'm looking at him from the standpoint, can he wrestle and can he do a good job in the ring? And he is consistent in his work. He may not be always up here. He may not be always here. But he's consistently here that can rise to the occasion. He's done it multiple times. So I can say as a consistently good worker that could at times become very good to near great. Just mainly very good. The one time he did really great was when they did the ladder match and he landed in between the ladder rings. You know I talked about it. Not many guys will be willing to do that, and he's a big-ass man. That would have fucked him up, and he took that like a champ. So he earned my respect in that. So I'm glad to see it. And I'm glad to see he and Casey are going to have a feud from now. I don't know how they're going to structure it, but they better structure it good. And I do believe Rich Swann should be involved in it. Even if you got to include BTE with him, I truly believe that could happen. Next. Next page. Wait, you know what? Let me talk about EC3 and Eric Young. Let me get that done right now. EC3 and Eric Young. Hang on a minute. I didn't have much time, so I just started over. Let's say this when it came to EC3. I did not know he was coming back. I didn't check the dirt sheets, and I'm glad I didn't. For him to come back after almost near 10 years, I think it's been 9. I think back in 2018 or 17 or 18, when EC3 was in WWE, he was so excited. EC3. He was just excited that he finally got to the main roster of WWE. He busted his ass in NXT, and he managed to get there. But then after having to deal with Vince, he lost all hope. His heart was shattered because of how WWE was working at the time. And then, yes, he was released. He created the promotion, Create Your Narrative. He also worked in NWA. I think he might still be working with NWA. I don't know. I'm not sure. But if he's still on and off working with NWA, because he was there for a bit, I'm like, he's moved around a lot. And he looked really messed up at one point. I mean, there was one point he looked so messed up. He was like hunched over like this. He was like this, but he was hunched over like this. And he did not look good. Now he looks a lot better. But I gotta say this. If you guys didn't notice, when he came down from the ring, not. The reason I botched here is because why did they use his new music? I know he has his own music. They went and used the old standard EC3 music. And I thought they would use his new music. Honestly, I don't know why he went back to that. Or he agreed to it. I'm hoping that that music will stop being used because I don't think it fits him anymore. After he's been gone for so long, it just doesn't fit. For me personally. Comes down to the ring, gets into the ring with Eric Young, who did speak earlier, and then he gets laid out by EC3. And now EC3 says, I am going to be here, ECAMC, and next week I challenge you to a match, which will be on Impact. I'm hoping his music is not used anymore. But also, because probably didn't have time to set it up, I hope that graphics get updated because they're still using the older graphics without his tattoos on. And I thought, dude, where's his tattoos? I looked at it when they set up the EC3 and Eric Young because it was decided later in the night. And you look at it and you can see EC3's old look without the tats. And I'm going like, so they didn't know about this? Didn't he go and do some photo shoots where he can update the graphics? That's possible they didn't have the time, but because maybe they just finally got the negotiations done. Possibly. That's the reason why he didn't have any new graphics, new shots of himself. But I hope, one, they update the shots for his graphic, and two, let him use new music because I just don't believe EC3 music is the right one for him. Moving on. Xia Brookside. At the side of Ling Yang Lee versus Ariana Grace. Now, what do I mean by that? Xia Brookside by the side of Ling Yang Lee. Because she didn't get into a triple threat with them. She came down to the ring with her best friend, Ling Yang Lee. I believe I got a shot of them. I don't know. I think I got a shot of them together. It's in my face. For the Knockouts Championship, I did not think Ling Yang Lee was going to win. I just didn't think she was going to win. I don't see the Birthright losing a champion in Ariana Grace. It didn't make any sense. Because the Birthright is not just in... It's in both companies. I mean, NXT has the Birthright, but also TNA's got the Birthright. It makes sense to let her keep that damn title, even if you don't like her wrestling or think she's not that great on the mic or her character. It is a storyline, and particularly that someone just said, I haven't checked, but someone said that Santino Marella is gone and had some surgery done. He has sleep apnea, and he's getting it taken care of right now, which I hope he's fine with it. But she should not be losing that title because it makes better sense that her father make her lose that title. And now that he's gone and done surgery and he's going to be out for a little bit, her keeping it was the wise thing to do. But then I thought, as the match was going on, someone had to come out. I felt like someone had to come out and mess up Ling Yang Lee. That's what I was thinking. I didn't think Xia was going to betray her. But then when you hear Stax earlier that night talk to when he told Ariana, I got this perfect plan. And he said, well, I got the plan. I just came up with it. Told Ariana, she said, perfect. And when I saw Xia Brookside attack Ling Yang Lee, I saw only one thing. Well, two words. Birthright. She is the daughter of a legend from British catch cam and regular British European wrestling. Yes, she's never shown an inkling in the last, 6 to 8 months that she's going to turn, particularly against Ling Yang Li. But if you guys do remember, and I have to say this, more than a year ago, or at least a year ago, when you saw Rosemary and her in their feud, you saw the moment of Zaya turning very nasty, but they never pulled the trigger on it. That was all I could think of. That little thing that was always with her was festering because of what Rosemary did. Now, the thing that would have been better is that Zaya had seen Rosemary and talked to her. I kind of think that would have made it more easier to make this make more sense, because I'm sure people are going to say, dude, this makes no sense. And in a sense, it does not, but at the same time, it does, because they want more people who have second generation standings, in other words, is the daughter or the son of a wrestler, to join the birthright. The birthright needs members. And seeing that Zaya Brookside is a second generation wrestler, it makes perfect sense. But then it doesn't without Rosemary. And that was the problem I had. Rosemary was needed. Rosemary was needed to at least be seen once, unless I missed it, which I might have. I don't know. You guys can tell me below who's been watching TNA. As far as I know, Rosemary has not been seen near Zaya. She's been trying to get the bunny, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But essentially, it really needed Rosemary there. I really wish that she just ran into Rosemary, and she just looks at her, and Rosemary says, and she just goes, that at least would make some sense. Now, let's move on to the bunny. What did we get with this segment? We get Tessa Blanchard, we saw again. We saw Victoria Crawford again running around in that place. And then we see Father Mitchell again with Rosemary and Abyss. I believe I got a shot of him and he's in his face, in my face. Not his face, my face. I'm dyslexic, guys. I mess up a lot. But let me give it to you like this. Seeing that Father Mitchell had a moment with Abyss, and they haven't worked together in years. Since Abyss, the actual former wrestler, because he's not wrestling anymore. He's working in WWE in creative in NXT, I believe. I believe he's working in NXT and working there. And he hasn't probably seen Father Mitchell for a few years, at least, other than maybe some cons or something. They haven't really done any segments. This would be the first time Father Mitchell has done a segment with Abyss in years. And did he do a good job of it? No. Fake crocodile tears wasn't that good. But I'm not going to say that was 100% work. I truly believe that part of it was a shoot. Because there were certain parts you can honestly hear him really meaning it. Because let's make it very clear. Both of them made each other's careers. There's no way you can deny it. Now, for me personally, I did not watch TNA when it first came out and when the Abyss was coming up. As I've told people here on this channel multiple years ago, and still on and off, the first time I knew about TNA was through DVDs. Through a DVD. I did not have cable at the time. I couldn't afford it. I did not have the money to pay for it because I had too many bills on my back. So the only way I saw TNA was through the DVDs I bought, and I only bought two. Genesis and I believe it was Lockdown 2009 and Genesis 2006. Or 2005 or 6, I can't remember at this point. I actually lost the DVDs. Well, I didn't lose it. I gave it to someone to watch and they never gave it back. But the point here is, I didn't watch the beginnings of both of them rising. And how popular it will become. And here, even if it did feel a little corny, yeah, it did feel corny, still, it was nice to see it happen. And then after the moment they had, Abyss disappears because he wasn't allowed to stay there. He's not a bad guy anymore. He can't be in the undead realm, especially that. He's working in WWE in creative. He's not going to be there. So this was needed. So another sin has been cleansed by Rosemary. I don't know how many it's done now. I think it's like 4. 3 or 4 sins have been cleared. So my feeling is this, maybe either by Slammiversary or Bound for Glory, Bunny will come back. That's just me, guys, down below. Okay. Order 4. I know this was Ali versus Trey Miguel for the International Championship, but Order 4 was there. And I like their mask. I believe I got a shot of it. It's in my face. Well, not a mask. Well, helmet. Not a mask, a helmet. Let me give it to you like this. When I saw those helmets, for all the people were there, including Skylar, Haunch, and then you see the New Age or the futuristic sunglasses for a little bit of Tasha Steelz. I knew. He's winning. He's winning. How is he going to win? That's the thing. How is Ali going to win that match? And I'll say this. It was a very good high-flying match. Was. I'm not always into high-flying matches. Not all the time. This one was very good. You know that Trey Miguel can do a damn good job in the ring. And Ali is just as good. Of course, Ali has been in the business longer than Trey has been in the business, I believe. I think Ali's been in more than a decade and Trey easily a decade by this point. But the point here is this. Both of them worked so well. I did enjoy it. I did. It worked great. And in the end, with helmets cracking against Trey's skull, Ali won. I'm not surprised. And Ali needed a title. So now Trey, who... Let's be honest here. Wait a minute. Still working. I hope my mic is still working. If it died, I'm going to be so upset. But when you see the situation with Trey Miguel, what happened in AEW and what happened here, them rehiring him, giving the International Championship, it's okay. Him losing the International Championship does not hurt Trey. He can always try to get it back. He can always try to get the X Division. Hell, I'm kind of hoping that he will move into the world title scene. If they see enough in Trey, it's not about him winning. It's about him at least working in the main title scene. And they need more people in the main title scene. That's just me, you guys, down below. Now, I'm going to say this about the Hardys going against the system. I really wasn't feeling it because of what happened with the Righteous. The Righteous having the match, they should have had the match there. I'm sorry. They should have had the match there. The system, either the Righteous need to have a match at Rebellion, or the system should have just had that match, and they should have never had that match on Impact. I'm sorry. I know what they did it. It was for the New Orleans crowd before they left. I know. But it does not mean I liked it. I hated it. Because it's not about just giving a match away for free. It messes up the storyline. Look, the Hardys have been busting their ass for months. And if you're going to make it special, the Righteous had to have a second match with the Hardys on Rebellion. But they didn't want to do that. They wanted to just get it over with so the system could have that shot and win. And I knew they were going to win. There was no way they weren't going to. I knew that the Hardys were going to lose. I just knew they were. The way they were building it up, that the Hardys were already banged up pretty badly. They made a very big emphasis on it. And for me, it just upset me. I just didn't like it. I felt like either you let the system have that shot without Thursday, or the righteous have that shot without Thursday. That's the way it felt like it should have been. Last match for the world title, Santana versus Eddie Edwards. Let me give it to you like this. Did I believe Eddie was going to win? No. But I knew there was going to be some type of screwy ending. I was wrong. Flat out wrong. Woo! I was wrong. I had forgotten about Alicia and how she can screw around. Now, you people are going to say, dude, you should have noticed that she was going to screw over Moose. And I did have those thoughts. But admittedly, because of how things have been going, like, I really wanted to see Agent Zero go up against Moose. I was not considering it. I'm not going to lie about it. I didn't consider it. I had talked about it before where Alicia could turn on Moose. But I hadn't thought about it in a while. And after what was going on with Agent Zero, I just flat out didn't think about it. So by the time Moose came down with Alicia, and Moose showed on the Titantron behind him that Alicia was lying and had called up and said, I got this sucker screwed over. He didn't know anything. And now you're going to get your title. He came down to get Alicia. I'm like, oh, damn, why didn't I remember about that? And then, what did we get? Liar, Alicia. And then Moose takes her away. And then because Santana was distracted, almost got pinned, he had three Boston Knee parties. But he didn't win. He didn't win. I thought he might win when Alicia showed up, because at first, like I said, I didn't think he was going to win. I didn't. I knew there was going to be a screwy ending, which I was right. But I didn't think he was going to win at first. Then Alicia showed up. Then I thought, well, if they're going to do this, maybe he is going to win. And then he didn't win. But now here's the question. Who is next? I don't know. We now know this Impact, we're going to see Elena Black going to be going up against Ariana Grace sooner or later. Because she made it very clear, talking really silly. She didn't sound very good. It was like she was told to talk like that at the last minute. I didn't really like it. I've seen her in better promos than that. Saying that, well, guess what? I hate this place and I'm going to come for you. I've heard her better. I didn't think it was that good. But when it comes to Ariana Grace, we now know it's going to be pretty much Elena Black. But when it comes to Santana, I don't know who's next. And I'm kind of glad about that. I don't know who's next. I'm curious to see how they're going to structure Santana now. He managed to win. Moose and him got an understanding. But now what? I don't know. But let's make this very clear. This is better than I thought. The title I put for this thing makes perfect sense. This was way better than I thought it was. It's a good show. Better than what I've seen in WWE, obviously. And since AEW has now begun to get a little bit better, even if the storylines are, as JD said, boring, at least they're structured better. Hopefully going from chaotic, that didn't work, to boring, that could get better. They're not at the same level as TNA at this moment, but it does not mean they can't get to at least the level of TNA or surpass it. Because right now, WWE is not doing it. But it's just me. Peace.